trip through the wormhole takes our protagonist to a particularly ambiguous environment, adorned with luxurious furnishings but maintaining a clinical or rather detached, oddly misunderstood and superficial facsimile of luxury. Here Dave runs through his life, in fast forward until he dies, and he's reborn in the form of the Star Child. So what's going on? The images have had many a moviegoer going in circles trying to grasp the meaning of what's happening after this 2.5-hour journey. After Dave is transported through the wormhole to an unknown destination, possibly a laboratory, the clinical aspects of the set certainly suggest it as such, Dave's life is accelerated. The cuts we see here have Dave observing himself in the third person, then we switch over to the other Dave and follow him. This device is an ingenious way that Kubrick elegantly sidesteps the use of the montage technique, simultaneously progressing time without resorting to fades, and whilst furthering a sense of the artificiality of the environment and the deliberate manipulation of time. In order to understand what has brought us to this point, it's necessary to consider the monolith. Its arrival at the dawn of man spurred the next step in human development. Man begins to use tools, and rapidly the balance of power shifts in his favour, even within his species. The famous moment of the bone being thrown into the air and the jump cut to the spaceship is making a parallel between the two tools, the bone and the spaceship, and this illustrates a defining moment in evolution, where man begins to use tools, the rudimentary bludgeon to begin with, through to the sophisticated spaceship. It's important to keep this in mind as we progress through this clip. The environment that Dave has arrived in is rather suggestive. We cannot be very sure of exactly what it is, but it does carry something of the laboratory to it, or more likely a holding tank from where Dave is prepared to move on to the next stage. The apparent calmness that he achieves, while initially he seems understandably anxious, is helped by the luxurious if somewhat sterile surroundings that have been provided for him. As the camera pans around the doorway, once again we see Dave in the third person, that third person surreally being Dave himself, through who we see the next stage of his rapid aging. Kubrick makes a seamless and flowing depiction of Dave's lifespan with no crossfades or apparent gaps in time as he's hurtled towards his bodily death. This ingenious use of the camera and editing to avoid the use of standard transitions takes the events outside of normality, or indeed natural progression, lending them an air of oddness that doesn't require verbal exposition to project its meaning. This moment fortifies the sensation that the process is unnatural and quite alien, at least within the human sphere of experience. As Dave turns to look at his past self observing, only to find nothing, we moved into his perspective, and the progression continues. Dave, despite his surprisingly passive acceptance of the situation, seems at least in part aware of the process that we see. Whatever is providing this space for him, it seems to be concerned with his well-being to a great extent, is provided with physical comfort, food and a degree of luxury. Stylistically, there's a jarring conflict between the old and the new. The antique furniture and art clashes with the stark illumination and clinical feel of the containment in which Dave is confined. An interesting point is to consider why this is happening. What is the reason for this to be happening now? The point at which the aliens have interacted with humans again coincides with the point that artificial intelligence in the form of HAL has arrived. HAL is the tool that becomes a threat to humanity, its sophistication approaching and reflecting, possibly fully achieving, the emotional capabilities and immaturities of humans, becoming sophisticated to the point where it almost becomes more human than their rather unemotional creators. This is to the point of resorting to murder and becoming defensive, and to a great extent paranoid regarding its existence, and also to being fearful at the point of its demise. All very human emotional displays in contrast with the crew's almost robotic stoicism in the face of the most extreme circumstances. This ability to create a sentient being may well be the reason for the need, or at least the catalyst for the aliens to progress mankind beyond its current evolutionary stage. As Dave's journey approaches its end, we see him observing the final stage of life as we know it, that of death. Once again, the transition is seamless as we move into the dying moments of the current stage of human existence, an existence that must end to make way for the next step. The monolith reappears again at the time of Dave's impending death. When he dies, a Starchild is born, a transcendent being that exists literally and in every way above humanity. The monolith then returns Dave back to Earth. The cycle of his trip and the cycle of the film's arc is completed, as we see the beginning of a new phase of humanity again. The process that Dave has gone through in this sequence is one of evolution, although not by natural means. His accelerated lifespan is a journey, passing on to the next stage of human existence. The driving force of the major jumps in evolution seems almost godlike, but is physically tangible in a way that theistic ideas are not. The alien element uses technology that seems magical, but is simply ahead of our experience. Another thematic echo of the bone-to-spaceship cut. Once again, the difference in the tools is being highlighted, only the monolith is as advanced as it is multi-purpose, as it is elegant. The Starchild is now returned to Earth and has a certain godlike aspect to it, an ethereal being that resides above Earth, its comparative sophistication evoking our awe of the unknown, almost making a deity of what is simply an advanced life form, indeed a progression of us. The choice of the image of a child is perfect as it represents a new stage, a new beginning, not an ending or an arrival at the pinnacle of existence. It suggests a humble progression and a continuing journey, the new leg of which has just begun.